Hi, it's Adam with WebStarts. If it's your first time to the channel and you want to learn more about how to create your very own free website, online store, internet marketing, and more, be sure to click the subscribe button and enable notification. In this series of videos, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 design principles that will help you create a better looking website. Balance lends structure and stability to your web design. Think of each element on your web page as having a weight attached to it. You want that weight to be balanced throughout your page in order to create a visually appealing look. Let's get into the WebStarts page editor and see how we can utilize balance to create a good looking design.
To follow along with these lessons, you'll need a WebStarts account. Go to webstarts.com, click on Get Started. It's free. It takes a couple of minutes to set up an account. For this lesson, I've already created an account. I'm going to log into it. Once you're logged in, you'll see the dashboard view. That's what I'm looking at here. Hover over the thumbnail of your website and click Edit Site, and that opens up the page editor. This is where we'll be making design changes to the pages of our site. You can select the page that you'd like to edit from the drop-down, or you can click File, New, and create a new page. In this first lesson, we're going to be discussing how balance affects the look and feel of your web pages. Here you can see I have a web page, I have a headline here, and I have 3 paragraphs of text. And each one of these paragraphs, I've put a point that I would like to convey about balance. And the first one, it says, think of each design element as having its own weight. So every one of these elements on the page has its own visual weight. And balance is all about keeping track of those and then spreading them out in a way that looks like there's about the same amount of weight in all of the corners of your site. The second point that I'm trying to make is that when you glance at a web page, you should get a sense of where the action is happening depending on the weight of the design elements. So the design elements with balance should frame in or create a focal point on your site. The third point over here that I'd like to make is that balance alone doesn't create a beautiful design. It needs to work with the other design principles that I'm sharing in this series of lessons in order to give a sense of that beauty. Let's scroll down the page and I'll show you an example of creating vertical balance. Moving over to the left sidebar in the page editor, click on the add icon, and we're going to start by adding some text. I'm going to select the heading medium-sized text. I drag that to the center of the page, and then I'm going to double click on it. Then I'm going to select to justify it to the center of the page. I'm going to select it again, double click on the text again, select the color fill, and choose white so that you can see that on the dark background. That's an example of contrast. We'll be covering that in a later lesson. Then I'm going to go over here, click on text again, choose paragraph text medium, and I'm going to drag that out here into the center of my page. And then once again, I'm going to double click on that text box, select the color fill, and choose white so that you can see what we're looking at. I'm going to go over here, click add again, but this time I'm going to select to add an icon. I'm just going to choose any random icon. I don't necessarily like the size of that icon, so I'm going to use the handles to resize it. And then I'm going to use a little bit of the alignment feature that we'll be covering in a future lesson as well to align these elements with this title that I put at the top, or headline that I put at the top. I'm also going to select that icon, use the color fill tool to change that to white, and then I'm going to resize my text a little bit. And then I'm going to use something called repetition to duplicate these 2 elements here up and down my page. You can do that by holding down the shift key and then selecting each of the elements. And then I'm just going to drag those down the page. This is an example of repetition, which we'll be covering in a future lesson as well. And all of these elements work together to give you, a nice look to your website. So we'll be covering all of these soon. Let's just get these lined up. I accidentally got them a little misaligned. But nonetheless, you're going to center those up with the icons and now we have balance because we've brought this headline into the middle of the page, and then we've used the alignment feature to put them relative to this headline. So you can see that what we've done is distributed the weight of the elements to draw your attention to the center of this page. And this is an example of vertical alignment. If you want to change the text, by the way, you just double click in there, and then you could just type whatever you want. I'm going to type vertical alignment, and then you can save your changes right here. Let's scroll down the page, and then I'm going to show you how you don't need equal distance between your elements to have balance, and you also don't need your elements to be the same size like we just did here. They can actually all be different sizes and be different distances from each other and still have balance. Scrolling down the page, I've got this new blank section. I'm going to start by adding some text. I click add, heading medium. So I added that same headline text, but it's black on black. So I select it, change the color to white so you can see it. Once again, I'm going to center that text. And now I'm going to show you how you can add some shapes to your page by clicking add and then box. And then I want that box to become a circle. So I click on the style brush and I choose the circle option. And now I'm just going to duplicate that circle so I have a lot of circles on my page. And for the sake of just showing you how things look when they're out of balance versus balance, I'm just going to drop these circles all over the place. So I have a bunch of circles. They're all the same size right now. I'm going to make them different sizes, just random sizes. Some are going to be bigger than others. Some are going to be smaller. They're just going to be all kinds of sizes. And what I'm going to do is show you how you can just move these around the page in order to create that balance that we've been discussing. So here we go. Each one of these, you can see, has a visual weight. So by distributing that visual weight throughout the page, I can give a sense of where I want to command or guide your attention in the design. So I'm just selecting each one of these, and then I'm dragging them where I think they're going to provide that weight. So I can distribute them kind of like that, or I can maybe put this one down here, and then I can change the size, or I can make the distances different. And another way that you can use balance as well is with color. So I'm going to color fill a few of these by selecting them and then just filling them with a background color. And I'm going to use different colors to create a look. And you can do this as well. And as you're going through here, you'll notice that depending on the color I select, I can create balance with color because I'm not using the exact same colors. I'm trying to spread the colors out across my page as well. So that's another way that you can create that balance. So here you can see that this is a fairly good looking website. I have this focal point in the middle. I've got all of these orbs kind of floating around. And that's an example of how you can create balance with using irregular design elements at different distances from each other. That's it for this lesson. I'll see you in the next one shortly.